Hi.
I'm not even sure where to begin with this, but I need to get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there has been through something similar. Maybe you'll all just call me an idiot for letting it get this far. I wouldn't even blame you. So I, 34F, let my younger sister Julie, 28F, move in with me and my husband about 5 months ago. She had just lost her job, got fired for missing too many days because of this autoimmune thing she's got going on. She was broke, sick, and honestly just looked like hell when she showed up at my doorstep. We weren't ever super close growing up, but she's my sister, you know? I couldn't just turn her away. She said it would only be a couple weeks, just until she got back on her feet. First, everything seemed fine. She was quiet, kept to herself, helped around the house a little. My husband, Rob, 36M, even offered to cook for her a few nights because I was working late. I own a small business that takes up way too much of my life, so honestly, I appreciated them not needing me for every little thing. Looking back now, that was probably the first sign. Julie acting all helpless when I was around, but suddenly totally fine and perky when I wasn't. They'd be laughing in the kitchen when I walked in. He said they were just watching dumb cooking videos together. I believed him. God, I was so stupid. Julie started wearing makeup again. Then little skirts. Then she dyed her hair, said it was for job interviews. But she never went to a single one. She'd be in the living room mid-afternoon with Rob, watching some Netflix show I had never heard of, curled up under a blanket she borrowed from our bedroom. One night, I asked Rob if he thought it was time to push her to look for her own place. He acted shocked. Said, "She's your sister. Are you seriously gonna throw her out when she's still sick?" I let it go. I told myself I was being paranoid. I even apologized to him. But things really started going sideways around my birthday. It was a small thing. Just dinner at home. I didn't feel like doing anything big this year, especially with how drained I was from work. I came home and found Julie had set up the table with candles, balloons, and even got me a gift. Rob said it was all her idea. She was grinning like some smug little actress playing the role of best sister ever. And then she gave me lingerie. As a birthday gift. For me. And she said, "It's for Rob's eyes only." Wink, wink. I laughed awkwardly. Thought maybe it was a weird joke. Rob chuckled too, but something in his face. He looked nervous. Like the joke landed too close to something real. Anyway, that night something shifted in me. I started paying closer attention, after that lingerie gift. I couldn't shake the feeling something was going on behind my back. Call it intuition or just plain paranoia, but every time I looked at Julie I started noticing little things. The way she'd laugh a little too hard at Rob's jokes. The way he never seemed to shut his laptop when she was around. The way she never left the house unless I was home. One day I pretended to go to work, but I circled back and sat in my car down the street. Waited. 2 hours later Rob's car pulled up. He was supposed to be at his writing group, but there he was. Alone. He walked in like it was nothing. I waited another hour, then walked in the front door like I'd forgotten something. Julie was in the kitchen in my bathrobe. Rob was shirtless, sweaty, acting like he'd just come from a jog even though he hates running. I looked at both of them and said, "What's going on?" Julie blinked. "Oh my God, relax. I was doing yoga." He was helping me with stretches. Stretches. I stared at her, then at him. He just shrugged and said, "It's not what it looks like." I didn't press. I just said, "I left my charger," grabbed something random from the bedroom and left. I cried in my car. I screamed into the steering wheel. I didn't know what to do because I didn't have proof, and deep down I didn't want to believe it. I built my whole damn life with Rob. 14 years together. Paid the mortgage. I put him through grad school when he quit his job to pursue writing full-time. And now this. I thought I was losing my mind. Then came the bomb. 1 week later, on a random Tuesday morning, Julie walked into the kitchen while I was having coffee and said, straight-faced, "I think we need to talk. I'm pregnant." I dropped my mug. Didn't even flinch. I just stared at her. She was so calm. And then she said it. "It's Rob's." Thought she was joking. I waited for the punchline. Never came. Instead, she had the audacity, the actual gall to say, "I think it's best if you move out. Rob and I want to raise the baby here. In my house. The house I bought. The house with my name on every piece of paperwork." I was silent for a second. Then I stood up, smiled, and said, "Actually, I think it's best if you both leave." Julie's face dropped. Rob, who had been hiding in the hallway like the coward he is, stepped out and tried to say something. I raised my hand and said, "Don't. Just pack." He started to protest. That's when I reminded him. I pay for everything. His house. His phone. Even his stupid writing retreat last year that he never wrote a single page during. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "You've been living off me for 4 years. She just figured that out, didn't she?" Julie turned to him like a switch flipped. "Wait, what do you mean?" She didn't know. So Julie's standing there, staring at Rob like he just farted in church. "What do you mean she pays for everything?" she says, voice cracking a little. Rob tries to smooth it over, starts stuttering about how we're a team, and money's just a symbol, and we've always supported each other emotionally. I swear to God he really said that. Like that was supposed to mean something when this man hasn't paid a single utility bill since 2021. Julie crosses her arms and asks him again. Straight up. "Do you own this house?" He doesn't answer. He looks at me. So I answer for him. "No. His name's not on the deed. Or the lease. Or the bank account. Or anything. You're pregnant by a man who's got nothing." He blinks. "He told me you were the one dependent on him. That you couldn't handle stress. That you begged him to stay home." I laughed. Loud. Like almost maniacally. "Yeah. And what stress was I supposed to not be able to handle? Building my business from scratch while he played Skyrim all day." Rob tried to cut in, but Julie shut him down hard. "So you lied to me. About everything." He goes, No, I just didn't clarify some things." I swear her face changed. Like she realized she'd just thrown away her last bit of family for a guy who can't even pay for gas. Julie's lips started to tremble. "You told me you were saving up for a house. That you had investments." "Babe," he says, "babe. Those were long-term goals." She lost it. "You absolute loser. You tricked me into sleeping with you, getting pregnant, and you don't even have a damn bank account. I lied to my sister for you." That point I stepped back. I just leaned on the counter, arms crossed, and watched them unravel like a pair of cheap socks. No yelling from me. I didn't even cry. That's when Rob turns to me, like he suddenly remembered I was in the room. "Can we talk? Alone?" Said sure. "In court." So after Rob asked to talk alone and I hit him with the court line, he looked genuinely shocked. Like he expected me to cry or beg or have a breakdown. But I didn't. I just kept sipping my coffee. Like this was just another Tuesday morning, and not the day my whole marriage turned into a dumpster fire. Julie's pacing now, rubbing her temples, muttering about how none of this makes sense. And then, like a cherry on top of a rotten sundae, she turns to me and says, "I didn't mean to hurt you. You're being really cold right now." Cold. This woman slept with my husband in my house, got pregnant, tried to kick me out of my own home, and now I'm cold? I walked past her, opened the hall closet, pulled out a suitcase, tossed it at Rob's feet and said, "Since she thinks I'm cold, I'll be generous. 30 minutes to pack and get out. Both of you." Julie's like, "You can't do that. I'm pregnant." And I said, "So? I didn't put that baby in you. Take it up with your broke baby daddy." She actually looked at Rob like maybe he'd defend her. He just looked down and said nothing. So I hit them with round 2. "I already changed the locks. I'm giving you 30 minutes out of kindness. After that, I'm calling the police and saying 2 trespassers refused to leave my property." Julie starts crying. Rob tries to pull that weak, sad-eyed thing he does when he's in trouble, muttering about how we had a good thing and we can work through this. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "There is no we. There's you, and there's the lawyer I hired last week." His jaw dropped. Already knew. I had a PI on him for 3 weeks. I just hadn't said anything yet. I had pictures, receipts, texts, the whole ugly folder sitting in my glove box. I was waiting for the right moment. Julie whispers, "You knew this whole time?" He nodded. "Of course I did. I just wanted to see how far you'd go." She started crying harder, and Rob, that man, looked terrified. Like he realized he'd spent the last 4 years sponging off a woman who could actually destroy him in one phone call. And me. I just felt calm. It was the first time in a long time I felt like I was in control again. After they finally left, with barely any of their stuff and a whole lot of tears, I took a deep breath and just sat in silence. The house felt weird without all the lies bouncing off the walls. Still smelled like betrayal though. That doesn't air out easy. But I wasn't done. See, the thing is, Rob's always been image obsessed. He runs a little blog where he posts fake deep articles about emotional growth and masculine vulnerability, and whatever else sounds poetic when you've got nothing real to offer. He's built a decent little online following, mostly because I edited half his posts and ghostwrote the rest. Julie. Oh, she's the queen of curated Instagram. Always posting candid selfies with captions like, "Healing isn't linear," or "Your energy is sacred." Yeah, sacred enough to sleep with your sister's husband, I guess. So I gave them a stage. I posted my version of events on Facebook. Nothing dramatic. Just calm, matter-of-fact. How I took my sister in when she was jobless and sick. How I supported my husband's dreams while building a business from the ground up. And how they both thanked me by stabbing me in the back. I didn't name names. I didn't have to. People knew. The comments started rolling in within the hour. Friends. Family. Even old co-workers I hadn't talked to in years. Everyone wanted to know what the hell happened. A few tried to play Switzerland. There's always two sides, they said. So I posted screenshots. Not the raunchy stuff. Just enough to show the emotional affair, the messages where Julie said, "I can't believe she doesn't suspect anything," and the one where Rob said, "She's so cold lately. You make me feel seen." That one hit hard, especially after what Julie said about me being cold. By day 2, Julie's Instagram was locked. Rob deleted his blog. By day 3, their mutuals were ghosting them. One of Rob's writer friends messaged me privately to say, "I always thought something was off about him. You and me both." And by the end of the week, Julie sent me a message from a burner account. All it said was, "You're ruining my life." I stared at it for a minute, then replied, "You started it. I'm just adding the credits." So I hadn't heard from Rob in over a week. Not a text, not a call. Which honestly I thought was a blessing. I figured maybe he finally understood how done I was. No. Sunday morning rolls around. I'm in sweatpants, eating leftover pizza straight from the box, when I hear a knock on the door. I open it and there he is, Rob. Same pathetic little puppy dog eyes. Holding a coffee from my favorite shop like that was supposed to mean something. "Can we talk?" he says, like this is some soap opera. I didn't say anything. Just stared at him. He clears his throat. "I've been thinking a lot. Messed up. I know that now. Julie lied to me. She said you were cheating on me with someone from your office." I actually laughed in his face. "Really? That's what you're going with now?" He kept pushing. Said he felt used by her, that she manipulated him, that he was just in a dark place and felt comforted by the wrong person. And then, "Brace yourself," he said. "I think we can rebuild. You and me. We've been through worse." "Worse?" I said. "Rob, you slept with my sister. In my house. While living off my money. And you think we've been through worse?" He tried the sympathy angle. "You were so busy with work. I felt like I didn't matter anymore." I hit him with it. "You didn't." Dead silence. He blinked a few times like I'd slapped him. Then he actually cried. Right there on the porch. Said he didn't have anywhere to go. That Julie kicked him out after finding out he had nothing to offer her. She went to stay with some friend in Arizona. Took the car he was driving too, it was in her name. Guess liars don't make good landlords. He said he'd been sleeping in his brother's garage, and even his family had turned on him. I said, "So, Actions have consequences, Rob. He begged, said he still loved me and he wanted to fix things. I asked him what exactly he was bringing to the table now. He said, and I swear this is real, emotional maturity. I closed the door on his face. So after Rob's little performance on my porch, I figured that was the end of it. I'd shut the door, blocked the number, moved on. But Karma. Oh, she was just getting warmed up. 2 days later, I got a call from an old friend of mine, Leah. We hadn't spoken in years, but apparently she still followed Julie on social media. She says, "Hey, are you okay? I saw some drama going down on Julie's Facebook." I hadn't checked, honestly. I was too busy trying to get my life back in order. But I hopped on a burner account and wow. Julie had tried to do damage control. She posted a whole sob story. One of those nobody knows what I've been through kind of posts. Saying she was betrayed by people she trusted, and was abandoned in her time of need. She painted herself like a single pregnant woman who was taken advantage of by a man who misled her emotionally and financially. She never mentioned names, but it was obvious who she was talking about. Then, in the comments, oh my God. Some of her own friends turned on her. One girl wrote, "Didn't you sleep with your sister's husband?" And then ask her to move out of her own house. Girl bye. Spiraled from there. More people chimed in. Old co-workers. A guy she used to date. Someone even dropped the screenshots I had posted. On her own post. The internet doesn't forget, sweetheart. Julie tried deleting comments, but people were saving receipts faster than she could hit block. Then the biggest twist. Rob's little brother, Tom, went nuclear. He made a whole public post exposing both of them. He wrote, "I watched my brother mooch off his wife for years, and then cheat on her with someone who cried on our couch about needing help. Disgusting." He didn't hold back. He confirmed everything. Said Rob faked having a book deal. Said Julie used to flirt with him before Rob. It was a mess. And then my inbox started blowing up. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Rob had been emotionally vulnerable with. 2 women messaged me. One said he had been sexting her during the same time he was sleeping with Julie. The other said he told her he was trapped in a loveless marriage, and waiting for the right time to leave. Guess I was the villain in everyone's story except the one that actually happened. Meanwhile, Julie went radio silent. Deleted her socials. Disappeared. I didn't do anything. I didn't need to. They buried themselves, and I just watched from the front ROW till things had quieted down. My house felt like mine again. Peaceful. Empty but peaceful. I'd been slowly unpacking the emotional mess, figuring out how to keep my business running without falling apart inside. Therapy helped. Wine helped more. But for the most part I was just trying to keep my head above water. Then I got this message. It was from Tina, an old college friend. We hadn't talked in almost a decade. We were never best friends or anything, but we were part of the same study group and stayed friendly for a bit after graduation. I hadn't even known we were still connected on Facebook. Her message just said, "Hey, this might be weird, but I saw your post. I think I have something you deserve to know about. It's about Rob." I stared at it for a minute. My first instinct was, ugh, what now? But curiosity got the best of me, so I replied. She asked if we could talk on the phone. Said it was too much to type. I called her that night. And what she told me. Had to sit down. Turns out, back in 2019, right when I was drowning in 60-hour workweeks trying to get my business off the ground, Rob had gone to a writing conference out of state. I remember it clearly because I paid for the whole trip as a birthday gift. Well, guess who else was at that conference? Tina. She said she didn't think anything of it at the time. He told her he was single, charming, passionate. Said he was recovering from a toxic relationship with a controlling woman. That was me, apparently. They hooked up. Few times. She didn't find out he was married until a year later, when she randomly saw a tagged photo of him on my profile. She blocked him immediately, she said. Felt disgusted. Thought about reaching out back then but didn't want to stir the pot. But when she saw my recent post about what happened with Julie, she felt guilty staying silent. I thanked her genuinely. Not even mad, just numb. Because that confirmed something I already suspected deep down. Rob had always been like this. Julie wasn't the first. She was just the one dumb enough to think she could build a life with him. Tina's call hit different. Not because it shocked me. At that point I kinda already knew what Rob was. Liar. Leech. A walking, talking cautionary tale. But hearing it confirmed by someone who had no reason to lie. That gave me a weird kind of freedom. Like, okay. It really wasn't me. I spent so much time wondering what I could have done differently. Could I have worked less? Talked more? Been more affectionate? But nah. Rob was gonna cheat regardless. He wasn't looking for love. He was looking for someone to clap while he played make-believe. So I made a choice. I booked a trip. Nothing fancy. Just a solo weekend at a cabin up north. Somewhere with no Wi-Fi and way too many trees. I brought wine, books, and a playlist full of sad girl anthems and angry breakup hits. I cried a little, screamed a little, and then I exhaled. For the first time in months, I wasn't waiting for an apology. I wasn't imagining revenge. I was just alone. And it felt good. When I got back, I started clearing out the house. Donated Rob's books. Burned a few of his old t-shirts in the backyard fire pit. Not dramatic, just therapeutic. And then, totally out of nowhere, Eli messaged me. Eli was a friend of a friend I'd met at a barbecue 2 years ago. We talked for maybe 15 minutes about lemon bars and bad Netflix shows, and that was it. I barely remembered him. But apparently he remembered me. His message was simple. Hey, I just heard about what happened. I don't know if this is overstepping, but I always thought you were something special. If you ever want to grab a coffee and just laugh about how trash men can be, I'm around. I stared at that message for a long time. Not because I wanted to jump into anything. I didn't. Still don't. But because, for the first time, someone saw me without knowing the version of me attached to Rob. And that felt new. Hopeful. Like maybe this mess wasn't the end of my story. Just the middle, so it happened out of nowhere. I was grabbing groceries. Sweats, no makeup, hair in a bun, just trying to live my life without drama. And there she was. Julie. Standing by the produce section like a ghost that never got the hint it wasn't welcome. She looked rough. Pale, thinner, tired. Pregnant belly showing now, maybe 5 or 6 months in. She saw me before I could duck out and came straight over like we were old friends running into each other after yoga. Hey, she said, all breathy and soft like we were gonna play nice. I didn't say anything. I just kept looking at the apples. She kept talking. I've been thinking about you. I'm sorry for everything. I was in a really bad place and Rob, he told me things. He made me believe you didn't care about him anymore. I finally looked at her. Not angry. Not emotional. Just done. You slept with my husband, I said. In my house. While I was paying your bills. You didn't just break my trust. You nuked it. She nodded. Tears welled up. Real ones this time, I think. But I didn't care anymore. I know, she whispered. I know I messed up. Miss you. You're my sister. That word sister, it hit me weird. Like she was still trying to wear it like a badge, when really, she threw it in the trash months ago. So I told her what I'd been needing to say for way too long. You're not my sister. Not anymore. Family doesn't do what you did. And Rob. He used you. Just like he used me. The only difference is I got out. You're still stuck with the consequences. She started sobbing. In the middle of the store. People were starting to look. But I didn't care. You chose him over me. You believed his lies. You told me to leave my own house. And now you want forgiveness. Closure. You're not getting that from me. She said she didn't want anything, just wanted me to know she was sorry. I said, good. Now go live with that. And I walked away. Didn't look back. I didn't cry in the car. I didn't replay the convo on the drive home. I just put the groceries away and made dinner. That was the end of it. No fireworks. No final scream. Just silence. The kind that says this story is over.
Bye.